And hopefully a boom, which is the clapperboard version of saying, bosh, we're in. A very, very exciting day. You'll notice, if you're watching carefully, how sitting up straight me and my guest are, because also very excitingly, dual excitement, we're in podcast Virgin Land. Thank you. Alex Prince, as we're about to find out, is one of the gentlemen of the world who actually is one of the most important numbers you can have in your phone book, because, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Prince is an osteopath. Come on. And we're sitting up straight. Tell us why we're sitting up straight, Alex, because this is what this is all about.
First of all, hello, and thank you for having me.
You're very
excited
welcome.
about that. We're sitting up straight because I'm an osteopath that's passionate about people's back health and posture, and I designed a chair in lockdown called the Z chair, and we're both sitting on it. And it's a natty little design, but actually it's helping us sit in a nice ergonomic position, which is going to hopefully help our back health and prevent further back issues.
And this is a podcasting first in two ways. It's podcast number 1, please.
Ding, ding, ding.
For you, but also this is podcast number 1 where we're actually sitting in the ergonomic Z chair. This show is all about. Very excitingly, this show also brings you into the UK health radio show space, the world's #1 talk health radio. And this is going to give you the opportunity to talk to about 1.4 million people, as they are otherwise known, across 54 countries. So it's really, really exciting to have you here. I mentioned Alex being one of the most important numbers in the phone book. My usual osteopath was out of town. And then this lovely man was there for me to have, number 2, please. And he's now become an equal #1. And we did the most perfect bit of reciprocity. Reciprocity is my favorite word.
Good word.
We had, you helped me and cured my back. And I couldn't help notice I was sitting on one of your Z chairs as I was waiting to go in. And by the end of the treatment, we'd arranged the perfect deal. A show for a Z chair.
And how better to represent this. Great. Thank you.
And where we're podcasting from is called Future Leap Studios. And interestingly, Alex, as this is a best of Bristol, but also a founder story. So we're based in Bristol, and Alex knew that 2 people upstairs were sitting on Z chairs potentially. So we've managed to emancipate them from their chairs. It's not as cool as it sounds because one wasn't here today.
No, bless him, Duncan. We were able to just swipe it from his individual person that is actually somewhere else today. So that was great. And
that's good.
And actually, Future Leap have been brilliant because they've been helping promote it. So we've planted a chair up there. So yeah, handily there were 2 for us to sit.
Lovely. You also told me a really wonderful comic story before we got going here about how you've got a very special arrangement with your fishmonger next to where you practice. Would you please tell us that story, please?
Talking of reciprocity.
Yes.
I got that right, didn't I? Yes. My fishmonger, Matt the Fish. He's
Matt
brilliant. Matt Smith. Give them a little, the best little support. The best fishmonger in Bristol, I am certain, on Northview, Smith Fish. Anyway, Matt, he comes to see me and can't always afford to, and would quite happily go without, but he really needs to get regular work done, and so he comes laden with fish for me. So it's wonderful.
So if I may, whenever you get slapped about the jowls with a halibut, you get the sort of signal slap, which is like the Monty Python fish slap dance as well.
I must reassure listeners that I don't keep the fish in the treatment room.
You don't. It was very fragrant, may I say, when I came to visit you.
What, salmon?
No. Well, I think you can get different coloured fabric for the chairs as well. I don't know if salmon pink is one of your things.
Salmon pink's definitely one, yeah. And we got turbot grey or something like that, yeah.
Turbot grey, so there is a fishy theme. I love that.
No, there really is.
There really is.
I was just playing on that.
Wonderful. So sit up straight. We're going to amplify at the end because that's your company that's there to help you.
Sit straight, not sit up straight. But yes, we want people to sit up straight.
Lovely.
Yes.
So it's really exciting. You're my first osteopath in this show. And this is the show, What's Your Story, where I invite movers, makers, shakers, mavericks, influencers, and also personal heroes into a clearing or serious happy place of my guests' choosing as they all come along to share their stories of distinction and genius. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a bit of a best of Bristol voices and a founder story hybrid. And I love the fact you've already given a shout out to Matt the Fish. I love that.
I'm not sure I really appreciate Matt the Fish.
Matt the Fish, what are you going to do? Yeah, great. So it's my great joy to curate you through the structure of the show. There's going to be a clearing, a tree, a lovely juicy storytelling exercise called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's going to be some alchemy, some gold, no fish, but there will be a couple of cheeky squirrels,
A gold turbot.
and there'll be some Shakespeare, a golden baton, and a cake.
Lovely.
So it's absolutely all to play for.
Can't wait.
Lovely. So this is about from osteopath to Z chair. Any questions before I curate you through the journey?
No, you carry on. I'm glad to be led.
And you go where you like, how you like, as deep as you like. And then obviously at the end, there's a very exciting bit called show us your QR code, please, where sitstraight.co.uk will be the amplification we give you.
Indeed.
So first of all, energetically, it all takes place in a clearing or serious happy place of your choosing. So where does Alex Prince, osteopath, go to get clutter-free, inspirational and able to think?
Well, probably like a lot of people, it's outdoors, it's outside, and it could be in many different places. It's not just one place, but it has to be countryside, it has to be open space. It could be mountains, love the mountains. It could be seaside, even better, seaside and mountains, rivers, but open, clear space. But that's not the only thing that builds the whole picture. I found this when I was doing training for endurance sports, and I found that when I was doing some exercise over a longish period of time, and back then it was running steady, not puffed, not so your heart's going to pound out your chest, but just steady running when you're under control, or cycling for long distances, which I love to do, or even walking. But I found that when I'm doing exercise in the open, in the open space, then I find my mind wanders, I problem solve, stress relieve, everything. But things, I get clarity, and that's in that environment.
I love
so
that.
That's my clearing.
And there's that lovely Nietzsche quote: "It's the best ideas happen outdoors." And if you're walking, it sounds like it'd be quite a brisk walk because you're wanting to sort of make sure that you're moving and exercising.
I think generally I go things at briskest pace. So yes, if I'm walking, I tend to get a hoof on a little bit, but and perhaps if I'm to be self-critical, I need to sometimes just stop and look a little bit more. But when I get into that rhythm, that flow, whether it's walking, running, or cycling, then that's when the mind just goes.
So I love the fact that the clearing is ostensibly the big outdoors. Is there any particular geography that you'd like to be able to sort of stick a mast in the sand of?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, locally, it's really lovely to go up onto the Mendips. I live in Rington, little village, not far from the Mendip Hills, and getting up on there and walking, jogging, cycling up there is wonderful. But my real love is the mountains, actually.
Yes.
So I get real buzz from being up there.
So let's just go on the mountainside, and people can decide where they'd like to think of you being, as we now move on to me arriving with a tree in your clearing. And this is a bit deliberately existential, a bit Waiting for Godot-esque because of my acting background. And I'm going to shake your tree now to see which storytelling apples fall out. How'd you like these apples? Which reminds me of Sam the fish. What are you going to do?
Matt the fish.
Matt the fish, not Sam the fish. Awkward. So yes, this is where you're going to now go through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 minutes, or since we've met, you've been thinking about 4 things that have shaped you, Alex Prince.
Yes.
None of this is a memory test. We'll go back to the beginning in a second.
Yeah.
3 things that inspire you. 2 things that never fail to grab your attention, which is where the squirrels will come in. And then a 1 is a quirky or unusual fact about you.
Okay.
So over to you to interpret the shaking of the canopy of your tree.
Yes. Wow. Amazing.
So 4 things that have shaped you, first of all.
4 things that have shaped me. But I think I have to start with school. I went to a boarding school in Sussex called Hurstpierpoint College. And look, lots of stories about going to boarding school and sent away to public school, and some positive and some negatives I've heard over the years. But for me, it was almost completely a positive. I fitted in, I worked well there. It worked for me and I worked for it. And I learnt well, but it was big on, I'm not huge on academic, but it was big on sports, and it's big on performing arts and that kind of stuff, and I just really loved that. It was just brilliant, and I thrived there, and I think that helped shape me in a very positive way. and I played rugby to my heart's content, and was luckily had the honor of being the rugby captain and ended up being head boy. But that's I don't want to blame the trumpet, but that was a side issue. But actually, the school and myself, it became a thing that had a profound influence on me as I grew through my teenage years.
And are you still in touch with the school as a sort of an alumni dum-dum?
Loosely. I haven't been very proactive in going back to Hurst, and I keep thinking I should. And maybe geographically, it's just a little bit of a hoof over there. But I've got very fond memories of it, and I know it's moved on considerably since I was there, and in a really positive way as well. So I see, and I get all the reports and newsletters and stuff and love it. But I think I've been meaning to get in touch with them and see if they're interested in the Z chairs for their students.
Quite right too. Yes. Quite right too. Some awful chairs in schools. The very small ones in infant schools are the ones that I always struggled with, the ones that are absolutely tiny.
Well, it's interesting you should mention that, because without diverting too far, we have babies and toddlers have perfect posture. It all goes wrong for us when we start sitting down.
Yes. Because
chairs are crap.
Yes.
Most chairs are crap.
Yes.
And so we have got this wonderful posture. We've got great natural core stability when we go from crawling to standing, and we're moving around. You watch children; they're moving freely and at ease. And then we sit, and I go to primary school. My daughter's at primary school, and you see them. You sit on these chairs, and that's not the school's fault in any shape or form, but I just see the unwinding of this perfect posture.
Yes.
And core and everything else, and then we wonder why teenagers do the slouching bit. Okay, well, we've actually taught them, we've untaught them all the good stuff.
Yes.
And then we get into our 20s and 30s and people have knackered backs, but it's actually because we've been doing something that we do a lot of the time, sitting. We've been doing it really badly.
Yes.
Anyway, that was a
great
rabbit hole. You might want to ding your dinger. Yeah, sorry.
No, that was a great rabbit hole, and an important one as well, which we're going to keep amplifying and resonating with. Do you have any siblings as well that would have joined you at the same school?
No, I've got two siblings. My sister's 3 years older than me, and my brother 2 years older than me. My parents, and I think quite wisely, wanted us to send us on different academic journeys. So that, and I was the youngest, and I think they felt very strongly that I shouldn't be Justin's younger brother or Joanne's little brother. But actually I could develop him, and I got my parents to thank for that. I'm very thankful for that opportunity and that insight, I think.
And the first thing you said was it gave you freedom, it gave you autonomy, was what I heard, because it suited you. As you said, it doesn't suit everyone, a boarding school life early in the formative years, but for you it worked.
Interestingly, I did have a couple of years where my brother had gone off to secondary school, and I was just finishing my primary education, and I did a couple of years at the prep school, and my brother had been there. And I came in just after he'd left, and all I heard for a year was, "Oh, you're Justin's brother." It did serve me quite well, because I only played football up to that point, and there was a rugby school. My brother was a good rugby player, and so they just chucked me into the first 15 unwittingly, because I never played the game in my life.
You had the right surname. You'll do.
Yeah, exactly. I picked it up okay, so that was all right.
Yes, great stuff. So that's a lovely Shapeage number one. Shapeage number two, please.
Number two. Well, I was going to leave this till later, but since we touched on family, I think family is a massive thing, and of course family is very broad. I'm very fortunate. I've got a large and what I call close family. Close, not in distance or geography, but actually we all kind of get along and we rub along quite nicely. And I hear horror stories of family feuds and things like that, and we're so lucky. But it probably starts with my parents, and they've offered me the foundations, and I felt that support all the way through to probably my 30s, and for that I'm really, really grateful. But the family unit as a whole has been a really wonderful way to build inner strength, I suppose, and build confidence in oneself. And more latterly, I met my wife just over 10 years ago, Suzanne, and now I have a lovely daughter, and they've now encompassed what also shapes me, which is this lovely rounded, and getting married, having children is then the next step in that journey of family support and strength, I guess.
There's a lovely analogistic idea of core strength coming from family, and of course core is all about, it's
there we go,
back problems as well, or how to solve them.
Very insightful.
Thank you. I'm here all week. So shapeage number 3.
Yes.
I meant to ask you, how big is the whole squad? If all the princes collide?
So I've got a brother and sister. My sister's got 4 kids, my brother 2 kids. So that in itself is, kind of a decent immediate family. We got my mum and dad had quite a lot of siblings who have now had offspring, who are now having offspring. So and every so often we have a get together. They're usually in France because we got a load of relatives in Europe. And the last gathering we topped out at about 60 something family members, and they're family members indoors. Kids of second cousins even. So but it's lovely because we all get together and just have a lovely time.
Splendid. So shapeage number 2 or 3?
I think.
Sorry, it's my show, but I can't remember where we are.
No, number 3. I lost my trail of thought as well. I think sport/leisure. Sport's always been a core part of me, and my development, my shaping, and my growing up. And I think probably from my parents again, it all links in, but and then schooling, but I've always enjoyed and got so much out of sport in terms of I feel it's really developed myself as a person, but also I've been able to have the joy of working in a team with people, playing in a team. My work in osteopathy, I can be quite, I'm helping people, but you're very much in a room on your own sometimes.
Yeah, very one-to-one.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas, I come from a competitive rugby for years, and this team atmosphere was just wonderful, and I really felt that was a massive, important part of making me.
Yes. And do you still, I presume you don't play, well, I'm assuming you don't play rugby still, but maybe you do.
No, I still miss it. I haven't played rugby since 1999, I think. And I think I loved it, really did. I would have carried on playing, but I just qualified as an osteopath.
Yeah,
I was hurt. Things were starting to hurt, and sometimes I'd be tending to a patient, and I think I was in more pain than them. And, I was trying to sort out the collarbone that was just a bit subluxed, and the fingers taped together, and the black eye. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, maybe it's time to knock on the head. And actually, I had a knock on the head and a bit of a nasty neck injury, which thankfully was not so severe that it's
not permanent. Yes.
No, it's not left me any permanent disabilities. But it was enough for me with my knowledge to go, I think it's time to stop.
Yes.
At which stage I then decided, well, I love sport, I've got to carry on. And I got into less team sports, but more things that were going to keep me fit and healthy. And I started running and got into triathlons and then on to sort of endurance sports and things like that, which I've also had incredible, that's more kind of like mindful solo stuff. And you were talking about the clearing. That's where I found my clearing.
Lovely. And you do sports osteopathy as well. So I know you've cranked a few rugby players about, haven't you?
Quite a few athletes over the years. I won't name drop any particularly, but
well, you can. They're going, come on.
Funny. As soon as you say that, I'm like, oh, no. I've treated a few pro rugby players. I played rugby on the fringes of professional rugby, so I was kind of second team at London Scottish for a couple of years.
Yes,
and I did a couple of seasons at Rosslyn Park, which those teams back in those days were quite useful, still are quite useful sides. But from that, I was able to look after some of the sportsmen and women, athletes as well. And through triathlon and stuff, I've come across some wonderful athletes, really inspirational ones as well.
Fantastic. You're still not saying exactly who, but
okay, I'll pluck one out of the air. Very dear friend of mine, Chrissy Wellington. Do you know Chrissy Wellington?
Not personally.
No, she has she's an amazing lady, local to us, but she was world champion Ironman champion for years and years and years. I had the
Wow.
world record for years. She someone else has now got it, but she, in terms of probably female sports people, she's right up there with some of our very, very best and most inspirational. And she's a wonderful lady and very modest, but because I think Ironman is a fairly minor
Yeah.
sport, and you really know who she is if you do triathlon.
Yes.
But if you do triathlon, she's goddess, you know.
And just say her name one more time.
Chrissy Wellington. She's written a couple of lovely books.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. They'll come to me.
We can get people to write in on a postcard. If I know. Yes, ask a friend, phone a friend.
Yeah.
So now it's Shapeage number 4, finally.
Oh yes. Hang on, what have we done?
Or I might have got lost. If you feel you've done enough shaping, we can go on to the next bit.
At all. I haven't mentioned one that's very important to me, and that's osteopathy.
Oh, how could we avoid that? So yes, how has osteopathy obviously shaped you?
Well, how I came into osteopathy shaped me a little bit, because I had a bit of a false start in my sort of tertiary education, and I wanted to be a doctor, desperate to be a doctor, and I didn't get into medical school. And I thought that was the end of the world. And so I leapt into a microbiology degree at Imperial College, and it was not for me. It was way too academic, way out of my league academically, but also I was looking down microscopes and looking at molecular stuff, which is fascinating.
Yes,
but it is not me at all. I needed to be macro. So I dropped out of that course. In fact, I stayed probably a year longer than I should, but that's because I was enticed by the election of rugby captain there. So I thought, I'll just stay on. But
actually, and did that succeed? You became rugby captain?
Yes, that is. Yes.
Yeah. There's what's meant for you won't pass you by as a recurring theme.
There we go. Yeah,
narrative.
I know, and that was tremendous. But ultimately, I didn't come away with a glorious degree from Imperial, which I would have loved to have done, but it didn't quite. But I dropped out of that and took a year out and travelled and worked. And then my parents said, "Really, you should be thinking about what you want to do next." And I knew that I wanted to do something to help people, medically based, muscular. And they said, "Well, have you thought about physiotherapy?" And I thought, well, yeah, but I'm not sure that's quite for me, not sure. And it was one summer I took myself off to Southampton Library, where my parents live, and I never go to the library. And I looked up chiropractic medicine, because someone said, "Oh, if you don't want to be a physio, you thought about being a chiropractor." I thought, what's a chiropractor? I've got no idea. We're talking early 90s now. So and so I went along and I started reading about chiropractic medicine. Oh, that's very interesting. And you click and you realign and you do this, that, and the other. And it kept on mentioning osteopathy. I was like, what on earth is osteopathy? So I then read up about osteopathy, and I remember opening a book that had the basis of what osteopaths do and their principles and stuff like that. And it, penny drop time. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's what I want to do. So I came back from the library and said to my parents, they said, "How's your day?" I said, "I went to the library." And once my dad had got himself off the floor, they said, "What
fell over and hurt his back."
Yeah, exactly. I've discovered that I want to be an osteopath. They're like, "What's that?" So I then told them all, and they were so enthused. And they said, "Well, I think you better get on and do it." Anyway, fast forward. Did 4 great years at Osteopathic College in London, the British School of Osteopathy, and then qualified in '96. And I've been an osteopath. Well, next year I'm in my 30th year, so next year will be 30 years in practice.
What a great time to do a founder story. 30 years in.
I know, just finding myself at 30 years, and it's been the most rewarding profession, and it's really opened my mind. The osteopathic approach is very holistic in its approach, and I think before that I've been quite sort of reductionist in the way I looked at things. And what it's done for me is really broaden that way I can look at the world. Yes, not just at the patient.
There's sort of an obvious analogy of alignment in terms of direction and a sense of self.
Yes.
And core beliefs, and I'm just resonating on
it's great.
what you're making me resonate with. So that's your 4 things that have shaped you. Now 3 things that inspire you, and if there's any overlap, that doesn't matter. So 3 things that inspire you now, and we're going down the tree trunk of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, no, absolutely. Now I'm going to, since we're on the osteopathy theme, I'm going to start with my mentor. He's a chap that taught me osteopathy, or one of the many people that taught me osteopathy. And I owe lots of people mentions, but I can't do that all. But he then took me on as his apprentice at his osteopathic clinic when I qualified. Lovely chap called Vian Neville Toll. Fantastic name as well. Now, very sadly, Vian fell ill and passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
And gosh, it was wonderful going to his one. It wasn't wonderful going to his funeral. He was amazing going to his funeral because everyone came with these amazing stories about what an amazing guy this was. But for me, he really touched me. He helped shaped me as an osteopath, but also me as a person. We used to sit down over lunchtime at his practice, and we'd just, chew the fat, talk a lot of shit, proverbial. Am I allowed to swear? I can't remember. But he was a mentor in so many ways, but not just osteopathically, and lovely guy with a lovely family.
So yes. Philosopher as well as osteopathy mentor.
I wouldn't say he would laugh if you philosopher, you got to be joking, but actually in terms of life, yes,
school of life stuff.
And he is, we always talk about people being just the loveliest person, kindest person, but he was one of those.
And just say his name one more time.
Vian Neville Toll.
Google that monkey as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And he's a wonderful teacher and a wonderful, inspiring person.
Lovely. And inspiration, thing or person number 2?
Sportsmen and women. That's pretty general, isn't it?
No, great. Love that.
When I'm watching, appreciating, or even playing sport, and you see people doing amazing things, and it might be the elite athletes breaking the world record. It might also be the person that comes in last and is dragging themselves across the finish line on all fours. You see those amazing pictures of people trying to finish the London Marathon, and someone's carrying someone else, and it just tugs on my heartstrings, and I just think, wow, that's amazing. So for me, because I love sport and I know what it takes, the commitment to do your best, and we always do our best, I believe, but the commitment for any individual to do that. And so I draw inspiration when I see something that is amazing in terms of sports.
And there's a parallel of overcoming adversity in all its forms as someone struggles across the line, but they get there and they finish.
I know,
and it's the completion.
And sometimes it's the getting there, and I see people who are coming in to see me in the clinic, and they're trying to get there. Sometimes they're trying to get there too fast, and they're broken. They've hurt themselves, and you can see how disappointed and disillusioned people become when they feel that they can't reach their target or attain their goal, whatever that target is. Of course, the injury is set there for a purpose. They've been trying to do something too fast or too quickly, and it's the body way of saying, slow down a little bit, you're trying to push me a bit far. But when one of the joys of what I do is then you can set them back on that road to recovery. And
again, another parallel in the hero's journey, how we overcome obstacles to get where we're trying to get to, the human condition.
Absolutely.
All in an osteopathic patient room, treatment room.
Yes,
that's lovely. And then the third inspiration
has gone clean out of my head. It's so inspiring. but I think it's gonna. No, it hasn't actually at all.
It's come back.
It has come back.
I'll just plug your brain back in. Here we go.
And actually, it's actually my daughter.
Love that,
Effie. She's just turned 10 years old. She's just an amazing individual. All kids are, aren't they? Especially when they're your own. But I met Suzanne, my wife, just over 10 years ago, and we're both in our early 40s. And the first thing she said was, "I'm really sorry, Alex, but if it's kids you want, I'm afraid that's not going to happen." Of course, 18 months later, this ball of wonder pops into the world, and just the inspiration you get from watching kids, but particularly your own kids, when they are fearless and they go and get and they just do, and I've watched her doing sporty things. Think, oh, that's my girl. It's brilliant. And probably more recently, she loves musical theatre. She dances and sings and stuff like that. And she's having a very positive influence on me at the moment as well, because she's dragging me into the fold as well, which is great fun and very exciting. But watching her doing stuff, and she will watch Strictly Come Dancing and watch some complicated jive, and then just stand up and do it.
Wow.
I know, and I'm just like, inspirational. Wow, if I could do anything even quarter that, then wonderful. So my dear daughter Effie is just a star.
And I'm assuming you never say, how the Effie have you done that?
we try and stay away from that one.
That was an example of bad parenting. Don't try that at home. And I'm assuming, how are we spelling Effie? I was going to guess there.
Effie.
That would have been my guess.
Yes.
But it could have been one of those.
And it's not a shortening. A lot of people sort of say, oh, is it a shortening of something? And I think when we looked at Effie, I think you can euphemia and things like that. But anyway, Effie comes from a near neighbour of my parents, who Effie Bowdler. I'll give her a little mention. She's probably not listening, but she is 96.
Ooh.
She just turned 97. I cannot remember exactly.
She may qualify for a legacy life reflections. Just putting it out there.
Oh yes, absolutely. And she's a wonderful lady, and I always knew her as Mrs. Bowdler from down the road, and take some flowers down to her at Christmas time. And she was just a lovely lady. And she had a husband, Jim, who died a number of years ago, but he was a bit of a jack the lad, but great fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I took Suzanne down to see Effie when we were down one Christmas, and she introduced herself as Effie, and I was like, oh, that's the first time I knew that she was actually called Effie.
I've never known of an Effie before. No. That is a really unusual name.
And anyway, Suzanne, who was then several months pregnant with Effie, said, I think that's a nice name, isn't it? And we both agreed unanimously that if it was a girl, then that's what it would be.
Lovely. Yeah. And the comedian in me can't resist saying, if you had a son, you could call him Jeff, and then you'd have Effie and Jeffy, which would be
fantastic.
Bad parenting. Don't try that at home.
Well, I was all over Freddie.
Okay.
Freddie was always going to be my number one name, largely because Freddie Mercury for me is one of my heroes.
I was going to go Freddie Flintoff for a minute. Freddie Mercury. Sorry, it's your story.
Yeah, and maybe he should have been one of my inspiring people, because I've definitely been inspired by him, and in terms of what he achieved and his amazing things, and how he dresses. And when I've pulled off a couple of fancy dress lookalikes of Freddie Mercury as well, which is great fun to Google as well.
Yes.
But no, Freddie, and if it had been a girl, it would have been Winifred or something like that. Anyway, and then until we met Effie Bowdler, and then it became Effie very quickly.
Love that. That's the three inspirations. So now we're on to the squirrels. This is borrowed. Can I throw a squirrel at you?
A squirrel?
That's just a bit random. It's borrowed from the film Up, in how I've constructed this.
Love Up. I'm away. Great.
Where the dog goes, oh, squirrels.
Yeah.
So we've all got two shiny object syndromes. We've got many more probably, but what would you say your two monsters of distraction, your two squirrels? I've got an interesting viewpoint of my squirrel.
Am I only allowed two? That's really tricky.
Many squirrels as you like, but two squirrels is two.
Two squirrels. Okay. My first squirrel has got to be sport.
Squirrel. Yep.
Yeah. And that might be the sports results.
Yep.
It might be my fantasy football, courtesy of the NCT dads group. We still do our fantasy football. I know when I'm boys, I'm going to win this year. I normally bottom, but and with seven of us, the bloke that comes fourth has to buy the curry.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds fair enough to me.
Exactly. Yeah. So sport, it could be the sports result report. It could be some people playing, but I just am drawn into watching, enjoying, or playing, partaking. If someone says, "Do you want to have a game or something?" Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll
the last time I cried at sport was when I saw the Scotland qualifying goal that went over the goalkeeper's head to finally qualify after all these years. So that was majestic.
I was very, very fortunate to be at Super Saturday in 2012 at the Olympic Games, and I'd been very frustrated trying to get tickets, and finally managed to get a couple of tickets. So myself and my buddy John Meadows, wonderful osteopath.
You're being very generous mentioning. It's great.
No, well, he's an amazing osteopath in Billingshurst in Sussex. So we probably can't refer to many patients, but if anyone's in Sussex, go and see John if you got sore back.
Say his name again, so they'll
John Meadows at Meadows Wellbeing. There we are. Boom. Anyway, we went along. John and I are bestest buddies. He'll very much appreciate that, I'm sure. But we went along to this evening of entertainment, and we weren't quite sure what we're going to see, because we hadn't really thought about that Saturday as being a particularly
Yes.
big night. And then suddenly I was like, oh, Mo Farah's running, and it's the final of the heptathlon. Jess Ennis. Oh, and we hadn't even thought about long jump and Greg Rutherford. But anyway, it all happened, and that was just incredible. And those listeners that were there, it was just, I mean, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up just talking about it.
Love that.
Amazing. Yeah,
I'm glad we got onto that as well. Wonderful. And now there's a second squirrel, I believe.
Oh yes, yeah. My second squirrel, I think it has to be food.
Nom nom nom.
Funnily enough, I was listening to your one the other day, and yours was food as well. But if you
definitely,
if I go to a party and there's some nice nibbles or something like that, I can't hold a conversation and not be over there, stuffing my face. And yeah,
buffet is a tragedy for me. Nom nom nom. I can never eat just enough. I've just got to keep nom nom nomming on the buffet.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love food, and because I've always done a lot of sport, my appetite's always been grotesquely huge. And that's all very well, that's all fine until you actually do a bit less sport, and then you have to just watch out how you're doing it. But anyway, very, very distracted by food. I'm a celiac actually, so I can't have gluten. So as a child, I was frustrated. This is probably where it comes from actually. I was frustrated. I used to go to birthday parties, couldn't eat the burger and the bun, and I couldn't eat the cake, and I could often have the pineapple cheese things on a stick. No, I'd stuff myself full of those. But anyway, from that I eat what I would eat, what I was allowed to eat, but I appreciated and gained a huge love for all flavors, manners of food.
Love that.
Favorite, probably Mexican, I think.
Okay, so you like a bit of spice as well.
Like a bit of spice, and I've done a bit of traveling over my years. Travel's been a big passion of mine, and in some amazing places. But Mexico, the food, wonderful. Home cooked as well, street food, proper street food.
And what's your signature dish? Are you a good cook as well?
I'm not sure I say I'm a good cook, but I have a good go. Well, actually, having a go at a nice little bit of Mexican is good. So trying to do some tacos or enchiladas and that kind of stuff. I know.
Right. Snaffle that recipe,
but I'm not sure. But I'm not sure I do it to any. You probably have Mexican would look at it and go, I'm not sure that's great or authentic. But hey, I love it.
And the one now is a quirky or unusual fact about you, Alex Prince. We couldn't possibly know about you until you tell us.
Okay. Well, we mentioned traveling. I was very, very fortunate in my younger years to do quite a lot of traveling through all continents of the world, and all continents I mean. And so the one thing that I think probably most people might not know, unless you're very close to me, is that I had the wonderful opportunity of traveling to Antarctica.
Ooh.
I know, and to this day, it was the most amazing, awe-inspiring experience. The wildlife, the geography, the climate, it was wonderful, and it was a complete surprise as well. It wasn't planned. I was backpacking with a friend through South America, and we got to Tierra del Fuego, which is the very tip of South America, and chatting to a bearded guy that looked a bit like Captain Birdseye in the bar, and I said, "What do you do?" He said, "Oh, I work on that ship down there." I said, "What do you?" I was expecting him to say, "I catch fish," but he said, "No, I'm a geologist, and I go on guides. It's a tourist boat, and it goes down to Antarctica on trips." I said, "Oh, that's amazing. I'd love to do something like that." He said, "Well, very often there's the odd berth that's going spare, and they go quite cheap when if it's a day before we go." I said, "When did you go then?" He said, "Well, tomorrow." So I literally went round to the booking office and, "Have you got any berths of tomorrow?" And they said, "Yeah, but it's going to cost you." And they started off at a number. I think probably at that stage it's probably 10 grand or something like that. I was like, "Well, yeah, pie in the sky." I said, "Well," and anyway, we did a bit of haggling, and then got it down for a 2-person berth for I think it was about £1,500 or something like that.
Fantastic.
I know. So which back then was a lot of money, but now the experience was so
Once in a lifetime.
Anyway, the trip was incredible, and I also discovered my love of cold water swimming, which is something I do regularly now.
Okay.
And I do it for well-being, the buzz of it.
Yeah,
great fun. But I first swam in cold water in Antarctica.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have shaken your tree majestically, if I may say. Now we're going to stay in the clearing, move away from the tree. And next we talk about alchemy and gold,
Ooh.
which is when you're at purpose and in flow. You've been giving me this alchemy and gold by the bucket load anyway, but what are you absolutely happiest doing in your purpose and what you're here to reveal to the world?
Oh gosh. Well, I think it has to be to do with my work and my mission, and that is helping people. And because I have this skill to be able to help people with musculoskeletal issues, that's where my purpose lies. And then my passion through osteopathy has led me to this whole idea that posture is so important to us, and how chairs serve us so badly, and so developing the Z chair and things like that. It's been so my alchemy and gold is marching on this road of making people aware of how to look after their backs better, how to prevent back problems in the first place, and to help those that sadly already suffer. And moving along that is treating people. It's also informing people. So this, for me, this is wonderful. This is alchemy and gold, because I get to talk to you, but also hopefully a few people will take note of the Z chair and go, oh.
And I was going to say, this is the perfect moment to really plant the Z chair in the clearing and talk about it. So how did it come about, and what exactly is it? And feel free to sort of hold it up for those that are watching.
Oh, well, I'll hold it up in a minute, because if I hold it up, I'll lose the mic. But it all came about because for years, literally years, let's say 20 years, I've been really unhappy about how people sat, particularly at work. And we are in society, we do a lot of sitting. We get up, we sit down to have our breakfast, we sit in our car to go to work. We sit, a lot of us, for 8 hours a day doing our jobs. We come home and we sit and watch and have our dinner, and then we sit and watch some telly. We probably do more sitting than we do sleeping. Yeah. And if we're doing it badly, then we're doing something badly a lot of the time. And that's very, very detrimental to our health along the way. So very unhappy about that. And there are various very good ergonomic chairs on the market. I'll mention Back in Action, actually. Bottom of Park Street in Bristol. Wonderful shop, does amazing ergonomic furniture, and I love them. I get on very well. They're really super helpful, really good. But the only part is I send patients down there and they come back and go, oh, it's quite expensive though, isn't it? And what I discovered is that ergonomic furniture is very expensive. And I thought, well, actually, surely there's a way of doing things a little bit more cost effective, or a little bit cheaper. So I set about designing my own simplified basic chair that I thought would help people. It's not perfect. I would never say it is, but it helped people promote posture and promote their well-being. So I, with a business partner, we sat down and worked out what I thought was the requirements for that, and came up with the Z chair. And the Z chair is a kind of a natty look and design, but the basis of it is that we sit on a slant. So you're sitting on a slope. I'll hold it up quickly.
Sure.
Hang on. So, in fact,
putting it on there. Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if, hopefully people can see that a bit, but there's a slope down through there, and I'm going to sit down, otherwise the microphone won't work.
And what I've noticed since I've been on it for the last 3 or 4 weeks is it's very correctional. And what's intriguing about the nature of gravity, you sit brilliantly, but if you're not careful, you can also slump into it too, which and it makes you fight against that. So that's something I've experienced, because I'm a slumper, which is where I probably went wrong. You
hit the nail on the head. So the idea is your knees are below your hips, and what that does is it just rotates your pelvis forwards just a little bit, and that allows you and encourages you to sit up tall, and it helps you, prompts your core muscles to engage. So what it's doing is trying to get you sitting as if you were standing up. So we talked about the youngsters in their perfect posture. We when we stand up, we have this really nice posture where we have a lovely curved spine, and the spinal curves are designed by whoever designed them up there, or whatever you believe. But the spinal curves act as a spring. They absorb shock really, really efficiently. Now, what you'll notice, and listeners, when you sit down on a standard chair, is that we sit down, and the first thing we lose is that natural curve.
Yes.
And if we slump, we go into a C shape.
Yeah.
And that is really detrimental to our discs and our back and our muscles. And that's where the back pain.
There's a sort of concaveness to slouching.
Yes.
So,
yeah. It's kind of a C shape.
Yes.
But actually, what we want to maintain is the S shape, which is the
Yes.
natural curvature through there.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. You can slump on the Z chair, but it's uncomfortable to do so.
Yes.
And so, yes, it's cueing you to sit better. And my strap line is sit better but move more. I get all my patients to I recommend to all my patients that they micro break. We get up, we move little and often through the day, ideally every 20 minutes or so.
Yes.
Because that allows your body to move. We were designed to move. We've got all these joints and muscles, and they're designed for movement. So sitting still,
yes,
is a very counterintuitive and counter-evolutionary thing to do.
Yes. So sedentary is bad, and we know that. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, short periods, fine. Yeah. And sedentary sleeping when gravity is not compressing us is actually very, very therapeutic and essential.
Yes.
But sitting and sitting poorly, what I would call poorly, excuse me, is super detrimental. So my mission is to produce something that is simple to use. You just sit on it, and it promotes your posture, and it works for most heights of people. Not we haven't yet done a kids one, but it's anyone from between 5'2" and 6'2". So apologies for the very tall and the very short. We haven't yet got to the point at which we can develop large and small ones yet.
I can imagine there'd be a large, medium, and small version of the Z shape, because it's a very obvious shape to copy from that point of view, or to regenerate.
No, absolutely. And it might be with time that we come up with other designs, but the simple essence of it is you've got to sit on a slope.
Yes.
And if you're at home and you want to get a Z chair, obviously buy a Z chair. But if you're reticent to do that, or can't afford to, or don't want to for whatever reason, then rig yourself up so that your knees are below your hips. If you do that, you're one step closer.
Yes. And I've noticed also how curative it is, because I had a bad back for a while, and then this was helping me correct, partly because of the wonderful therapy I had from you directly, hands-on, and then combining that with then getting the right chair. Because round about every 3 years, my own back habit is I'll have some sort of mini prang in the lower back, because of just habit and defaulting back to old habits.
Yes.
But anyway, it has been fantastic, and I'm sitting on it now, and I'm happier to do that.
And it's comfortable as well. Most people look at it and go, well, no, my health requirement at work is that I have a chair with a back and with arms, because they've got to support you.
Yes.
But beware, my mentor used to say, give the back a crutch and it will lean on it.
Yes.
I decondition when we're leaning on something. But the idea behind the Z chair is that actually engages you.
Yes.
And
so it's active sitting almost.
Active sitting. Yes. And the thing about not having a back, because a few people said, oh, it doesn't look very comfortable, but actually, because you're sitting in almost a neutral position as if you're standing, you don't think about it too much. In the same way, you don't need a back support when you're standing up.
And the other thing to affirm about it, because of the work that I do in communication skills training and about crossing the line to connect and leaning in, if I'm doing anything online down the camera, the chair, because it's on a lovely sort of slant, makes me cross the line to connect and lean into the camera more. So for anyone working, if you have to deliver training online, that's another added benefit that you may not even have appreciated, but it works really well.
Absolutely. And mind and body work synergistically. They're one of the same in my book. And so if you're activated here, you're activated here.
Yes.
If you're deactivated here, then you're going to be deactivating here pretty quickly.
Yes.
And it's reciprocal. So activating here helps, so it works both ways. But if we can get the posture right, then actually we're more productive.
Yes. And to your point, there's so much of online activity that sort of sucks the energy and drains the vortex of all. So this is a way of keeping active.
Yeah, and we all get sucked into that. You go down rabbit holes on social media and all sorts, and before you know it, you've spent spent an hour fiddling around with my fantasy football team or something like
Of course
that.
you did.
No, would I waste my time like that?
There's a very exciting moment coming up shortly, which is overtly for, show us your QR code, which we'll do in a minute, which is about finding out where to go and find it. I'm going to award you with a cake now. So
is it gluten free?
it certainly is. It's whatever cake you like. So it's got to be gluten free. This is a doggy toy, which you can have.
Oh, thank you. Got it.
And so now you get to put a cherry on the cake with stuff like. So first of all, do you like cake, and what's your favorite gluten-free style of cake?
Yes, I love cake. I love gluten-free cake more. It has to be a chocolate brownie, but not one of the dry, slightly overcooked ones. It's got to be the gooey one. Gooey the better. My wife does a very lovely chocolate brownie, and my sister-in-law does the gooeyest ones. So, and they're my favorite chocolate brownie experts.
If you had to choose between your wife's cake or your sister-in-law's
don't
cake,
do that. My wife, of course. Yes.
So now you get to put a cherry on the cake with stuff like, what's your favorite inspirational quote that's always given you sucker and pulled you towards your future, first of all?
Oh, wow. Well, I mentioned one earlier. Give the body a crutch and it'll lean on it. That I almost use on a daily, and I apply it to physical, but also mental.
Love that.
So it's such an important attitude to life, I believe. Yeah.
And just say it one more time, deliberately reincorporating.
Yes. What was it? If you give the body a crutch, it'll lean on it. Metaphorical crutch. It might be something within your brain, or it could be something that is supporting us, and people often say, do I need to wear a knee brace for my knee injury? Well, that depends on what you're going to do and what you're going to do to rehab it and strengthen it. It's not necessarily a good thing to have that support there.
With the gift of hindsight, there's an invitation now to go back in time and give yourself some help or advice from your future. So how old would you be? And when you holographically appear to wrap your own arms around yourself, how old are you? And what would you say?
I think it's got to be around my sort of late teens, early 20s, when I didn't manage to become a doctor, and I was pretty down about that, and I was searching for something else, and osteopathy was there, or sort of became an awareness there. But I think it's my advice I would give to myself is like, don't procrastinate, just do it. Is it Nike that say just do it or something like that?
Well, it's the greatest strap line of sport ever.
Well, it is, and I think and that's also the sort of advice I give to my daughter. I say, if you're thinking about, just do it, just no, hopefully not in a frustrated way, but no, just do it. And it's very easy to say and sometimes harder to do, but that's what I would say to myself is that don't hold back, don't procrastinate. Just if you've got something, then go for it. And something like the Z chair, I probably, could have done earlier had I not, because it's been winding around in my brain for quite some time. And it actually took a friend of mine to say, well, why don't you do something about it? And then we did, so that's good.
And we keep mentioning the Z chair. So now is the time. Why don't we show us your QR code, please, at this point? Brilliant. So if you've been listening and intrigued by the nature of how is a Z chair, our wonderful assistant, Jo, in the background, if she could just show that up now. Ping. This is show us your QR code, please. So where can we go? The audience can see it.
Yes.
And if you're listening but not watching, just tell us the URL to go and find out all about the Z chair as curated or actually invented by Alex Prince.
Yeah. So the Z chair is online. We largely sell online unless you live very local to Bristol, in which we have a few dotted around in various clinics and things like that to support us. But if you go to sitstraight.co.uk, you'll find us. You can find us and me on LinkedIn and Facebook and Insta as well.
Lovely. So sitstraight.co.uk.
Sitstraight.co.uk. If you Googled the Z chair, you might well ping up. If you Google Alex Prince, osteopath, you might find me and the Z chair. So if you've got a bad back in the locality of Bristol, then I'd love to help you out.
And Alex Prince, psychopath, don't Google that. That's a different
Not
person.
psychopath. That's not me.
That's somebody else.
Yeah,
Quite
that's
right
my
too.
alter ego. Yeah.
We're going to ramp up now, so that's where to find you. We're going to ramp up to Shakespeare in a minute, but just before we do that, this is the pass the golden baton moment, please. They don't lock it up by Mr. Manring, but now you've experienced this from within, who might you like to pass the golden baton along to in order to keep the golden thread of the storytelling going?
Firstly, I love the golden baton. I always love a relay. At school and university, running the relay was just brilliant.
Did you know I've had Roger Black in my clearing and I passed him the golden baton, which was ironic because there's only one person on the planet that could have ran past him on the day that he did and only got silver. But all thanks to me, Chris Grimes, here all week, I gave Roger Black the golden baton.
Well done. That's brilliant.
How he laughed. No, he did. He thought it was very funny. But anyway, it was great. But he's now got a golden baton.
The golden baton, dear friend of mine, was an osteopath, now moved on to bigger and greater and more wonderful things.
Ooh.
His name is Nick Hounsfield, and many of you in Bristol might have heard of Nick. So he was an osteopath, but he followed his dream, and he is the founder and built the dream of the Wave, the Bristol Wave.
Oh gosh,
yes. So Nick has been a dear friend of mine for years. I was very, very honoured to be his best man at his wedding.
Lovely.
Where him and his wife Juliana, who is also an osteopath, wonderful. The Family Practice, Gloucester Road. Also very good. I love that. If you can't get a hold of Alex Prince Osteopath, then
yes, I love that. Other osteopaths also available.
They're wonderful. But Nick is an inspiration. He could have easily been on my list. He's a wonderful human being, and he's got an amazing story of highs and lows. And it'd be wonderful if you got to chat to him. He's a dear chap.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now, inspired by Shakespeare, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. This is an invitation borrowed from the 7 Ages of Man speech now. Alex Prince, when all is said and done, how would you most like to be remembered?
Yeah. I'd love to, on a personal note, I'd love to be remembered as really nice bloke, great fun, great to be on his team.
Love that.
Perhaps on a more professional note, I'd like to be remembered for the bloke that helped me sit better and helped me improve my back health.
I absolutely love that. There's one more question coming up in a second, but just a couple of announcements from me. If you'd like to talk about being a guest yourself, the website for my show, there could be some more QR codes coming up at this point, is thegoodlisteningtoshow.com. There are a number of different series strands, of which Best of Bristol is one, Founder Stories are another. And then there's very excitingly and personally important to me, What's Your Story, is legacylifereflections.com. My own father, Colin Grimes, who was a very willing guinea pig to me experimenting on him and with this about 5 years ago. My dad died a year ago. There's no morbid intention to Legacy Life Reflections, but it's to record either your own story or the story of somebody that you love for posterity, lest we forget before it's too late. As we know, research also shows that when we lose that precious someone, what we miss the most is what they sounded like. And self-evidently, the film and the podcast and the sense of my father I have is very important. So legacylifereflections.com is out there as well. So Alex Prince, osteopath, this has been your moment in the sunshine in the Good Listening To Show, Stories of Distinction and Genius. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, firstly, thank you so much, Chris, and I highly recommend people coming on the show. It's been wonderful in many respects, but actually, it makes you take stock and think yourself about what's inspiration or what has shaped me. Because sometimes we just take it all for granted, don't we? But anything else I'd like to say? Look after your backs, look after your bodies. We've only got one of them.
Absolutely.
If you're not sure, seek an osteopath. Myself or other osteopaths are available.
Yes.
And if you spend time sitting, think about how you're sitting, sit well, move more, and get a Z chair.
So Alex Prince, inventor of the Z chair and osteopath, strangely available in Bristol at alexprinceosteopath.co.uk.
Osteopathy. But if you Google Alex Prince Osteopath, I will ping up.
Lovely job.
Yeah.
So thank you very much indeed. I've been Chris Grimes. This has been Alex Prince. Thanks for watching on the old worldwide interweb. Thank you, Joe, our gorgeous assistant too, and good night.